let's keep in mind people are expecting to hear about Jesus during Christmas. So let's make use of this information. Hey, and it's a great conversation starter. When they say, "Oh, well, Jesus wasn't born on December 25th." I know. It's so crazy, but he was born. That's the most astonishing part. It's not so much like we should just be honest. Like, yeah, we don't necessarily know the day he was born. There's lots of stuff. This is a great conversation to have with your friends and family who may not totally align with you in worldview lines, and just be like, hey, you know what? There's a lot from these movies that we're watching that just are not just misrepresentations, but they're just flat out wrong. But we do know what happened. You know why? Because the events have been preserved in historical documents. We know them as the Gospels, but really what they are is they're ancient historical records of the life of Jesus. And in two of them, we read about Jesus's birth. And then it's a great opportunity to get into that kind of conversation, and it's important for us to know this information. And looking at a few of the events, as that we see that Jesus was indeed born. And I love this, because when we look at the true picture of Jesus's birth, it wasn't surrounded by kings and all this pomp and all this celebration and glory. Jesus was born to humble beginnings. And what I find even more incredible is that the first people to worship him, they weren't the rich and the powerful. They weren't kings and queens. They weren't the magi from far off, but they were common men. They were shepherds. That's who God chose to reveal the coming of the world's Savior to first. Mary and Joseph with family and shepherds celebrating what's happened. And I love that. These were men who were considered low on the social ladder during that time. And it's these men who were the first to see God in the flesh. And it's these men who spread the word to the world that a Savior was born. And that's the message. And that's the message that you and I can be sharing this Christmas. So does it ruin Christmas for us? No, but it is important for us to know the truth. I love having these conversations with people. I actually presented this material once in my last church, where I was a pastor at my last church. And afterwards, it was to a large group. I used to run this apologetics study group, and one woman came up to me and she's like, "What am I going to do? This does ruin Christmas. You're telling me everything I believed about Christmas is wrong." And I slowed her down. I said, "Well, not everything. What's the most important parts?" Well, Jesus's birth, surely, right? His virgin birth, right? His location, and then the preceding events of what happened. So the most important parts are preserved in truth, and it's important that we pursue truth in all things. We don't want to be, furthering a Christmas lie or myth just because it feels good. We want to tell the truth in all things. But let me say this too: it doesn't mean you can't enjoy Little Drummer Boy and all of these. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy your nativity scene, because the truth of the matter is that 2,000 some odd years ago, God provided the world a Savior through His only begotten Son, as the second person of the Trinity took on flesh to die for sinful men. And that's the important part.